Have you ever wondered what would happen if the greatest hero of Greek mythology, the powerhouse Hercules, faced off against the noblest warrior of Troy, the mighty Hector? It's a classic what-if battle that has captivated minds for centuries. But wait, did these two legendary figures ever actually meet? The answer is a bit more complicated than a simple yes or no, and it takes us on a fascinating journey through the winding tales of Greek myth. Let's set the stage. On one side, we have Hercules, or Heracles, as the Greeks called him. He's the son of Zeus, king of the gods, and a mortal woman, Alcmene. This divine heritage gave him superhuman strength, but it also earned him the lifelong wrath of Zeus's wife, Hera. Her relentless persecution is what ultimately led to the famous 12 labors, a series of seemingly impossible tasks designed to prove his worth and cleanse him of a terrible crime he committed in a fit of madness induced by the goddess herself. From wrestling the Nemean lion to capturing the three-headed dog Cerberus from the underworld, Hercules' story is one of epic adventure, raw power, and tragic heroism. He was a force of nature, a one-man army who could topple cities and monsters with equal ease. On the other side, we have Hector. He wasn't a demigod, he was a mortal man, but what a man he was. As the eldest son of King Priam and Queen Hecuba of Troy, Hector was the crown prince and the supreme commander of the Trojan army. Unlike the often brash and impulsive heroes of the age, Hector was known for his piety, his devotion to his family, and his sense of duty to his people. He was a brilliant strategist and a fearsome warrior, respected by both his allies and his enemies. Homer's Iliad paints him as the ultimate protector, the bulwark of Troy, fighting not for personal glory, but for the survival of his home and his loved ones. His tender moments with his wife, Andromache, and their infant son, Astyanax, are some of the most moving passages in all of Western literature. So, here's the core of our question. Did their paths cross? The timelines of Greek mythology can be a little messy. They don't always line up neatly like a modern history book. The Trojan War, where Hector made his legendary last stand, is generally considered to have taken place about one generation after Hercules' prime. Most accounts place Hercules' death before the main events of the Trojan War even began. By the time Agamemnon's fleet set sail for Troy to retrieve Helen, Hercules was already a deified immortal, dwelling on Mount Olympus. So, in the most famous story, the Iliad, a direct confrontation between a living Hercules and Hector is impossible. However, mythology loves a good prequel. And this is where things get interesting. There's another, earlier story involving Hercules and the city of Troy. This tale is often called the First Trojan War, and it happened long before Helen was even born. The story goes that Hercules, along with his friend Telamon, was returning from one of his adventures when he stopped at Troy. The king at the time was Laomedon, Hector's grandfather. Laomedon had a major problem. He had angered the sea god Poseidon and the sun god Apollo, who had built the magnificent walls of Troy for him. When it came time to pay up, Laomedon refused. As punishment, Poseidon sent a terrible sea monster to terrorize the Trojan coast. The only way to appease the monster was to sacrifice Laomedon's own daughter, Hesione. Just as the princess was chained to the rocks, who should show up but our hero, Hercules? He struck a deal with King Laomedon. Hercules would slay the sea monster and save Hesione, and in return, Laomedon would give him a team of magical, immortal horses that Zeus had once gifted to the Trojan royal family. Hercules, being Hercules, easily killed the monster. But King Laomedon, true to form, broke his promise and refused to hand over the horses. This was a huge mistake. You do not double-cross the son of Zeus. Enraged, Hercules vowed revenge. He left, gathered an army of his own, and returned to Troy with a fleet of just 6 ships. What followed was a swift and brutal campaign. Hercules and his men breached the supposedly impenetrable walls that the gods themselves had built, and they sacked the city. Hercules personally killed King Laomedon and all of his sons except for one. The lone surviving son was named Podarces. His sister Hesione, whom Hercules had saved, pleaded for her brother's life. Hercules agreed to spare him, but as a symbol of his captivity, he sold him into slavery. Hesione then used her own golden veil to buy her brother's freedom. From that day on, Podarces was known by a new name, Priam, which means the ransomed one. Yes, that's right. This is the same Priam who would later become the king of Troy and the father of Hector and Paris. So, according to this myth, Hercules not only visited Troy but conquered it. He was the reason Hector's father became king. But where was Hector during all this? Well, he wasn't born yet. This first sack of Troy happened a full generation before his time. Hercules' beef was with his grandfather, Laomedon, not with him. This brings us back to our hypothetical showdown. If they couldn't meet in real mythological time, let's imagine they did. Who would win in a one-on-one fight? It's a fascinating matchup of raw power versus refined skill. Hercules has the clear advantage in strength. He's a demigod who wrestled giants and held up the sky. His primary weapons were a massive club made from an olive tree and his incredible brute force. His fighting style was likely direct, overwhelming, and unstoppable. He could probably shatter Hector's shield with a single blow and break his spear like a twig. He was also incredibly durable, having survived poisons, fire, and wounds that would kill any mortal 10 times over. Hector, however, is no slouch. He was the greatest warrior of a city famed for its warriors. He was a master of the spear, the sword, and the shield. In the Iliad, he goes toe-to-toe with the best of the Greek champions, including the formidable Ajax the Great, and even wounds the mighty Diomedes. Hector's greatest assets were his skill, his courage, and his strategic mind. He wouldn't just charge in blindly. He would use his agility, his training, and his intelligence to find a weakness. He was a duelist, a commander, and a patriot all in one. His armor, forged by the god Hephaestus, would offer significant protection. In a direct clash, the odds would be heavily in Hercules' favor. His divine strength is simply an overwhelming advantage that mortal skill would find almost impossible to overcome. Think of it like a master swordsman trying to fight a bulldozer. The swordsman might be more skillful, but the bulldozer's power is on a completely different level. Hercules could probably end the fight quickly and decisively. But what if Hector could use his wits? What if he could lure Hercules into a trap, or exploit Hercules' famous temper to make him act rashly? It's possible, but unlikely. Hercules, for all his rage, was also a seasoned veteran of countless battles against creatures far more cunning than any human. Ultimately, while our hearts might root for the noble Hector, the protector of his people, the mythological evidence points to a victory for Hercules. He operates on a different plane of power. Hector's heroism lies in his mortality, in his choice to stand against impossible odds for the sake of his family and home. Hercules' story is about a man-god wrestling with his own immense power and destiny. So, while they never met in the heat of the Trojan War, their stories are forever linked through Hercules' first, forgotten conquest of Troy. This earlier war set the stage for the rise of King Priam and eventually for the birth of the very hero who would become Troy's greatest champion and its most tragic victim. The myth tells us that even the strongest walls can fall, and that the actions of one generation echo into the next, shaping destinies in ways no one can foresee. It's a powerful reminder that in the world of Greek mythology, every hero's journey is connected, creating a rich and complex tapestry of triumph and tragedy. What do you think? Who would you bet on in this ultimate showdown? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of mythology.